Hi everyone! Welcome to my video summary on the Three-Body Problem Season 1, Episode 15. Today we'll be covering the events of this epic sci-fi adventure. From Shi Qiang waiting for General Chang to get the file declassified all the way to Wang Miao, finding the answer to the three-body problem in plain sight. We'll also be looking at the role-playing and argument among the philosophers and scientists, the implications of the computer's arrival, and much more. So if you're ready to take a deep dive into the world of the three-body problem, then let's get started. Oh, and don't forget to like the video. After all, the fate of the universe does not rest on your clicking the like button. Shi Qiang is still in the dark about Science Grandma Ye Wenjie's story at the Red Coast base. He's desperately waiting for General Chang to get his hands on the file to tell him the truth. While he waits, Wang Miao decides to take matters into his own hands and look into the three-body problem VR game. It's a trick riddle by his daughter that makes him realize the answer to the game is right there in the title. So he enters the game under the mantle of Copernicus and arrives at a version of the Holy Roman Empire. Within the game, figures modeled after Da Vinci, Galileo, and Aristotle argue and insult each other over which philosophical or scientific observation is the best method of predicting the sun's movements. What these figures fail to realize is that there are three suns, and the planet is always pushed and pulled in their direction when it gets close enough to their orbit. When Wang Miao presents his hypothesis, i.e. the truth, the other players scoff that this is impossible because no one had the chance to record the appearance of three suns before their own world was destroyed. The end objective of this game, then, is to present one's theory or device to Pope Gregory, who stands in the place of the figure in power. Wang Miao is nearly burned at the stake until his hypothesis is proven right. The three suns align and destroy the world. And as a reward for succeeding, the game enters the next level when players log in the next time. In other words, the game has now shifted, and the players must work harder to figure out the new challenges it brings. At the start of this new game level, Wang Miao finds himself in an alternate world ruled by China's first emperor, Qin Shi Huang. Immediately, he is met with a duel between Newton and Leibniz. Before anyone has a chance to intervene, John von Neumann interrupts and presents his plan to build a giant living computer built with 30 million of the kingdom's people. Qin Shi Huang gives him the go-ahead, and so begins the task of order and refining every man in the kingdom into functional components of the computer. Under Emperor Qin's orders, faulty parts, those who fail to send the right signal, are identified and promptly beheaded. The disconcerting similarity of the 30 million people in their likenesses further demonstrates their NPC status in this game. The giant living computer, then, can be interpreted as a metaphor for the Qin dynasty's ruthless control of their people. It can also be seen as a precursor to what the current Chinese government could do when the time comes. The goal, ultimately, is to use the living computer to observe and calculate the trajectory of the three suns, a matter of life and death. The unstable era, where the game world and its inhabitants can be destroyed by extreme heat or an ice age, provides players with a further reason to come together in their different fields of expertise and debate their ideas. The rivalries among them, while often humorous and exaggerated, are still rather contentious and thus typical of gamers' behavior. And such arguments become more complex and heated as characters like Da Vinci and Isaac Newton, though given inappropriately effeminate voices, nevertheless provide an already established Western presence in the game world that must be reckoned with. Overall, this episode is a rather goofy one. The campiness, the unstable era, the somewhat uncomfortably stereotyped portrayal of Western characters. Yet, this is a welcome addition to the show, and a reminder from the author Liu Cixin that, amidst the deep philosophical conversations, there is still room to have fun. People from different realms of knowledge and expertise make up this game world where players can play out the three-body problem in an attempt to make sense of the impenetrable problem. Within this game world, the players take on the identities of some of the most iconic figures from history, such as Da Vinci, Galileo, and Aristotle, among others. The competitive and argumentative atmosphere between the game participants reach its peak as the debate focuses on what is the best method to predict the sun's movements. While the philosophers of the day argue that their philosophical musings can accurately predict the happenings of the future, the scientists in contrast assert that observation and experimentation are the sufficient means to understand natural phenomena. But it doesn't take long before tensions begin to run high as the players become increasingly confrontational. The philosophical skirmish is both extremely vocal and born out of a desperate zeal to lay claim to the right answer. Nevertheless, Wang Miao manages to surprise the other players with his observation that instead of one sun, there are three suns, and their orbits dictate what will happen in the world. It is at this moment that Wang Miao's theory is proven to be correct, which leads the game to the next level and the next chapter of their quest. Aided by the confirmation of Wang Miao's theory, the game players gain access to a new setting, the Holy Roman Empire in the reign of Pope Gregory. The players find themselves in a game filled with the uncertainties of political machinations and the treacherous motivations behind them. Suddenly, Wang Miao comes under suspicion for being a heretic, resulting in the Pope ordering his execution via burning at the stake. To make matters worse, the other players also refuse to accept his theory, doubting that any civilization could have such an astronomical occurrence as three suns. Fortunately, the Pope gives Wang Miao a final chance. If his hypotheses are proven correct, he will escape execution. Just when all hope seemed to be lost, the three suns align, and the destruction of the world is the resulting consequence. Disbelief washes over the players as Wang Miao's boldness pays off. By making the right answer, he has managed to beat the level, and the game moves on to the next stage. However, the extent of Wang Miao's success is short-lived as he finds himself, and the other players, in Qin Dynasty China, the birthplace of the first emperor, Qin Shi Huang. Wang Miao soon discovers himself in a realm filled with wealth and turmoil. Isaac Newton, the famed physicist, then appears and begins to duel with Leibniz over the dispute of which thinker the scientific theory of calculus should be credited to. The tense atmosphere is broken by the arrival of John von Neumann. He informs the players of his grandiose idea to create a living computer by using the 30 million of the Emperor's soldiers as its components. Before long, the drastic plan goes into motion with orders given to the civilians to stand as components in the giant machine. The Chinese orders are the software. The shocking homage to the Qin dynasty's emphasis on discipline and control has thus taken a new form under the knowledge of John von Neumann. In this form, the living computer has become a metaphor for the Chinese government's ruthless harnessing of the Chinese people as a single machine. This unsettling comparison to the present-day Chinese government serves to provide additional insight into both the current geopolitical situation and the gravity of the three-body problem. Upon giving his orders, Qin Shi Huang commands the soldiers to be refined and perfected according to the orders they have been drilled with. As the soldiers receive their commands, they split into two groups. One group holds a white lantern, and the other a red one. The meaning soon becomes apparent as these two colors stand for 0 and 1, with the alternating colors of light emitting from their lanterns functioning as a way of writing code. The refinement of this giant living computer continues as Qin Shi Huang shows no mercy towards those that fail to obey. Any soldier found to be making errors with their orders is instantly sentenced to death, giving the scene a morbid and ruthless atmosphere due to the Emperor's unyielding demands of perfecting the machine. Fortunately, the members of this makeshift living computer soon prove useful, with their purpose being to gather vast amounts of data that can help predict the trajectory of the three suns in order to prepare for the next unstable era. A period of extreme weather changes, where life will be wiped clean. With its vast capabilities in data collection, the living computer is able to cope with vast amounts of data and make calculations of the movements of the suns in question. Such an attempt of the players to solve the three-body problem is made possible due to Qin Shi Huang's ascension to emperor over the Qin dynasty, signifying the role of authority in setting up mechanisms that would ultimately allow the players to attempt the near-impossible feat of solving the three-body problem. The disturbing picture of lines of obedient soldiers holding lanterns and swaying them to form data codes symbolizes the perfect contentment and order present in the Qin dynasty. At the same time, it illustrates the utmost power of an authoritative figure over their people, a figure that can easily control the masses for their own purpose, a power that hints at the current Chinese government with its tight grip over its society. Thus, the living computer serves to provide further insight into Qin Shi Huang's power, as well as the gravity of the three-body problem. As the giant living computer stands as an impressive metaphor for the Qin dynasty's total power and control over its citizens, it proves successful as a long-term solution to the three-body problem. Players of the game can take their lessons from people like Professor Ye Wenjie from the Red Coast base, who left behind gifts that give people a chance to solve the three-body problem by using her wisdom and power. The immense computing power of the giant living computer under Qin Shi Huang's control proved successful in calculating the trajectory of the three suns. The calculations that the computer is able to make is only possible after the combination of both scientific observations and the philosophical discussions that have taken place between the players of the game such as Da Vinci, Galileo, and Aristotle. The players bickering over their individual ways of theorizing paints a clear picture of the need for collaboration and the consideration of ideas in order to solve the seemingly impossible three-body problem. Despite the differing methods suggested by the philosophers and scientists of the game, Wu Miao's proposal of the three suns proved to be the only way to solve the three-body problem and be successful against the final boss, Pope Gregory. The insight that the giant living computer provides into the three-body problem is invaluable, as it gives players access to a tool of unimaginable power in their quest for understanding the unpredictable dangers of the unstable era. The living computer remains a symbol of the power of the Qin dynasty, and through its accurate data collection, gives players the opportunity to save lives in the future. The ultimate message of Episode 15 of the Three-Body Problem is one of unity and collaboration. It emphasizes the power of working together and respecting different ideas, instead of judging and attacking those who challenge us. To solve the complicated three-body problem, it took the marriage of philosophy and science, the unification of the different disciplines for the greater good. The three-body problem is a story of understanding, wisdom, and strength. By showing us that even the impossible can be overcome with collaboration, we are reminded of the potential that arises within all of us when we truly listen with an open mind. With this insight, we can see the implications of the three-body problem beyond just the show and how it applies to our real lives, each and every day. We are constantly surrounded by different perspectives and ways of thinking, and so the drive and initiative to understand each other and the power of working together is more pertinent than ever before. If you found this episode's summary insightful, be sure to give the video a thumbs up, subscribe to the channel, and hit the bell notification to never miss another three-body problem video again. Who knows? You might just pick up a few more skills and know how applicable to your real life.